Imagine this, it is year 2040 and India is world's fastest growing major economy. Its youth-driven workforce is powering the tech revolution. Startups are booming, but here's the catch. China is still ahead, way ahead. Why? Because despite India's potential, China has already built an economic fortress that won't be easy to break. Let's cut through the noise. No emotional hype, just hard facts, real numbers and reality check. Can India ever surpass China economically? Or is it just a dream? Stay with me to further break it down. Let's first talk about the elephant in the room, the GDP gap. China's economy today is worth $18 trillion. India, just $3.7 trillion. That's a gap of nearly $15 trillion. Even if India grows to 7% annually and China slows down to 4 to 5%, we won't catch up anytime soon. Now, how China and India are placed on GDP per capita? GDP per capita for China is $12,500 against India's just $2,500. The average Chinese citizen is earning 5 times more than the average Indian. That means higher spending power, more investment, and stronger economic momentum. At this pace, India might match China's GDP by 2050, but only if everything goes perfectly. Before we move forward, please do consider subscribing to this channel if the subjects of business, finance, and economy are of interest to you. China is world's factory. It contributes 30% of global manufacturing output, while India's share just 2 or 3%. That's why China's exports are worth $3.5 trillion, while India struggles at $775 billion. Now, why is China so ahead of India? First, their infrastructure, high-speed rail, deep water ports and expressways. Second is their supply chains, fully integrated, faster production cycles. Third, ease of doing business. China ranks 31st, while India's rank is 63 in the world. Apple, Samsung, Tesla and many other companies want to expand outside of China. But why are they not rushing to India? The reason is simple. India's infrastructure still needs work and red tape slows down the manufacturing projects. Now let's take an example of Apple. They set up a factory in India, but it still imports most components from China. That's the difference. China has spent trillions of dollars building world's best infrastructure. Just look at their high-speed rail networks, over 40,000 kilometers. India, on the other hand, is still waiting for its first bullet train. Now China's FDI, which is foreign direct investments, ranges from $200 to $250 billion every year, whereas for India it is $80 to $100 billion only. Investors love China because they get better infrastructure, skilled labor and policy stability, while India still struggles with bureaucratic delays and land acquisition issues. China's authoritarian system makes it possible for them to make big decisions and fast, whether it is infrastructure, industry or economic reforms. China does it quickly and aggressively. India, on the other hand, faces bureaucratic delays, coalition politics and protests. Now let's take an example of China's SEZ, which is Special Economic Zones. It was built in months and attracted global industries. Now let's compare this with India's land reforms. Still debated, very slow progress. Democracy is India's strength, but in economic terms, it slows down large-scale reforms. What do you think? Authoritarian governance or current democracy? What will work better for India? Now let us look at a very fundamental input to any economy, education and skill development. Here's a fact no one talks about enough. Economic growth is not about just factories and trade. It's about education and skilled workers. And here, China has a massive advantage. Now let us look at the education budget data for both the countries and for the equivalent amount of population in both sides. For China, it is about $720 billion, which is 4% of their GDP. For India, it is just $37 billion, which is 2.9% of the GDP. Now, China's strategy is very clear and simple. Investing in STEM education. Nearly 40% of Chinese graduates specialize in science, engineering and technology. China's focus on vocational training is clearly visible with the number of its technical colleges, which is 10,000 plus, producing factory-ready workers. One of the other strengths for China is government-funded R&D. China spends over $450 billion annually on research, which is 16 times more than India. Now let us look at India's education problem. Poor primary education quality. Many rural schools lack basic infrastructure. Brain drain has always been a problem for India. Top talent moves to US or Europe due to limited opportunities in India. Now Indian students also lack practical skills. 85% of Indian graduates are deemed unemployable due to lack of job-ready training. If India wants to beat China, we need to radically reform our education system and invest in skill development. Now look at this. China has over 97% literacy rate, while India is at 77%. But the bigger issue is skill gap. China on an average produces 4.7 million STEM graduates every year, whereas India, it is just about 2.5 million. That's why China dominates AI, semiconductor, robotics, while India is still catching up. Now let us look at how China is preparing itself for the future. China spends 2.4% of its GDP on R&D, which is roughly about $450 billion, while India spends just 0.7%, which is just equivalent to about 1/20th of what China spends. And that's a massive gap. And that is the precise reason why in past few decades, China has produced some of the tech giants of the world. Huawei is a 5G leader. BYD is an electric vehicle giant. Alibaba, an e-commerce powerhouse. While India is still dependent on outsourcing and IT services. If India wants to compete, it needs to invest in research, AI, and emerging tech. And now, I hope you would have subscribed to the channel by now. If not, please do consider. So can India surpass China? No, I do not see it in the next 20 to 30 years. But here's what can change the game. More infrastructure investment, faster policy reforms, higher R&D spendings, better education and development. If we fix these issues, India can become world's third largest economy by 2030 and a serious challenger to China by 2050. But it won't happen automatically. We need action. What do you think? Can India overtake China someday? Drop your thoughts in the comments and do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Be inspired. Keep building.